Ari Berman is on the line with us. He's a contributor to The Nation magazine, author of Herding Donkeys, The Fight to Rebuild the Democratic Party and Reshape American Politics, thenation.com. Ari, Andy Martin was just on the line with us a minute ago, the kind of king of birthers, right? And I was going through this whole birth certificates thing, and I realize this is a digression from what we're going to talk about, the Republican shutdown I want to get to in just a second, but just a very quick question for you. He dropped this bombshell like 30 seconds off the air, just as we were coming up to the end, saying that the Constitution says natural born for the president, not for anybody else, and that because Obama's father was not a U.S. citizen, he's not a natural born citizen. This is the new plan of attack. It has nothing to do with the birth certificate. Do you know anything about that?
I hadn't heard that yet. It's hard to keep up on a day-by-day basis with how they're pushing this. It is kind of amazing. I mean, I spent a lot of time, I'm sure you spent a lot of time, debunking all these things in 2008.
Yeah.
It seems that the right and the Tea Party never really got that information because they keep over and over and over again trying to delegitimize Obama. And I think basically it's just going to end up backfiring on them politically because this stuff just looks crazy, I think, to the average voter.
Well, you should see some of the emails I get.
Primary.
I mean, I'm on their spam lists, and some of the emails are actually quite convincing. You know, that Obama's the Antichrist, that Obama is a Muslim, that he's here to destroy America, that, you know, on and on it goes. But anyhow, and in fact, 11 states now have legislation in their legislatures saying that Obama can't be on the ballot in their state in 2012, basically based on this stuff. But the civil war in the GOP, top Republican senators or top Republicans support government shutdown, is your latest piece in The Nation. And we're talking with Ari Berman from The Nation. Is there a civil war coming in the GOP?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, the mainstream, it's hard to say what really qualifies as mainstream these days, but let's just say the governing establishment in the GOP, the John Boehners of the world, for example, the Mitch McConnells, do not want a government shutdown because they think they'll get the blame. The Republican presidential field in 2012, on the other hand, which is trying to get Tea Party support, is going in another direction. Tim Pawlenty is saying they should stand firm on budget cuts. Newt Gingrich said, who is no stranger, of course, to a government shutdown, wrote in the Washington Post that a government shutdown was, quote, not ideal, but nonetheless that compromising on the budget would be worse. So they're really laying down a marker here. Boehner was able to keep the Tea Party folks in line on this vote yesterday to pass this 2-week continuing resolution to fund the government. But when it comes to any sort of deal on the budget, I think that the Tea Party and the 2012 types are going to make it hard on Boehner and the like to be able to compromise with the Democrats.
And what comes out of that? What's the result of that?
Well, we basically kicked the can down the road for 2 weeks. So the result, there's basically 3 possible results. I mean, number one, Republicans will stand firm, won't negotiate with Democrats, and more than likely will have a government shutdown. Number two is that Republicans will stand firm and Democrats will capitulate, and we won't have a government shutdown. And the third option is that both sides will give, and we will have a budget for the next year, but that's not going to make the Tea Party very happy.
But if we do option 3, according to what I'm reading from, of all people, I read this in the Financial Times, Goldman Sachs and Moody's, an analyst for Moody's and one of the lead analysts at Goldman Sachs, if Obama compromises, that if the Republican cuts were just passed en masse just exactly as they are, you'd see a 2% drop in GDP, which would mean, nobody has translated that to the best of my knowledge exactly into what that would mean in increased unemployment, but it would have to be substantial.
Absolutely. I think that's not to get too confusing here. I think that was option 2. But basically, the idea of Democrats capitulating, absolutely, is that the Republican budget has already been shown, as you mentioned, by Moody's, to cost 700,000 jobs. The House GOP. And,
that was Moody's. 700,000 next year, 500,000 this year, wasn't it?
Which is really catastrophic. I mean, that is the best political talking point I think you could ever envision for the Democrats. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the Democrats do. Do they try to really position themselves in this fight?
But given
they let House Republicans continue to push the debate.
But Ari Berman, given the fact that probably 85% of the electorate doesn't even pay attention to an election until 3 months out, most people are not listening to political talk radio, whether it's my show or Rush Limbaugh's show. Isn't this not so much a great Democratic talking point as it is a Republican talking point? Because if Obama goes along with the Republicans and even compromises, let's say cuts it down the middle, unemployment's going to be higher in 2012 when he's running for president than it is now. As a result of that, they're trying to make things worse so that they can take him out in 2012.
That's actually an interesting theory. The only problem with that is if
Mitch McConnell proposed it.
But if Obama does spending cuts, he's going to say, well, these are Republican spending cuts as well. So it's hard to see how the Republicans are going to benefit from cuts than if the economy doesn't get better.
But you're assuming that the average voter is sophisticated enough to connect those spending cuts to the unemployment rate. I don't think they are.
I think that may very well be true. And what I'm also worried about is that the Democrats have this two-step message, which is they say we're for spending cuts, but we're not for all the spending cuts. And I feel like that's too nuanced, too, for people to pick up on.
Yeah, I think they're fighting on the wrong ball field or whatever the metaphor is. We really need to be pointing to the fact that tax rates in this country are lower than they've been in 50 years. 4 points lower, according to the Financial Times, than they were during Clinton when we had a balanced budget. Anyhow, Ari Berman, thenation.com. Yeah, thank you, Ari.